Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Good to see you again. It's been a long time.
It has.
But it's nice to have you back here in my studio. We're going to be doing a color analysis on you today. So what that means is going to be looking at your skin tone in relation to different colors and also different saturations and hues. We generally recommend someone into the category of spring, summer, autumn, or winter. And those are just different types of color palettes. Be able to find the best one for you that sort of flatters you the most, okay?
Okay.
So starting out, I want to go ahead and get the sense of the undertone of your skin. So we have several different options. You can have a warm undertone, a cool undertone, or a neutral undertone. And the best way to determine that is by just placing a little bit of white fabric here. And we will see sort of what tone that brings out in you. So looking against the skin, especially against the neck. So I do see a little bit of yellows in the undertones. You put up the white against here. A little bit of yellow undertones, but it's not too severe. So I would actually put you in the more neutral category, but with a little bit of that pink, a little bit of that warmth. So more the neutral warm. Okay. So not fully warm, not cool. Coolness, definitely not a lot of blues in the undertone here, a little bit of yellows, a little bit of pinks. So that's a good place to start. We'll go ahead and confirm that. So if we just look here at this chart, so if we've got the yellowish orange hue and we add that white, we do get a very similar tone to your skin. That will be too warm, and that's more that yellowish. So you're right in the middle there, right in that neutral area. So yes, I'm gonna go with neutral warm. All right, so we're just gonna go through a bunch of swatches just for fun to see if any particular colors really stand out to us. So again, I'm just gonna be placing them on your chest here. Okay. And we'll start with the blues. Just try a few different of these hues. All right, so starting out with the bright, so we have several different types of colors as well. Starting out with a bright blue here. And as you can see, this is quite cool. So to me, the skin tone doesn't really match, and this color it looks okay, but it doesn't feel quite like it fits the skin tone. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that one's just okay. Now one that's hue is a little bit more dull here, and that washes you right out, in my opinion. That doesn't match at all.
Okay.
Now sort of an in-between layer there would be this color. And that's definitely the best one so far. What do you think of that one?
I agree.
So I like that this has a little bit more saturation, but it's still a little bit on that warmer side. So it's matching a little bit better with the neutral warm skin tone, but it's not so bright that it's contrasting either. So we're going to put that aside for now, since that's a good color for you. I'm bringing in another bright swatch here. And this one's not great, but not horrible. Not the best color for you. Maybe a little bit too blue, a little bit too cool. But if there was a warmer version of this, let me see if I have one. No, I think that's still too cool. That's a little better. Still a little light for you. I would say that it probably would be still, this color would be my first choice. Here versus here, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll go ahead and set that aside for the blues. I'm going to try a few purples on you now.
Okay.
So again, we'll start out with the one I think is going to complement you the least. This is a light saturation, and it's quite cool in its base tones. So again, I think it feels like it washes you out over a little bit. You know, you don't really pop from this color. Just not the best. Moving on to something that's much warmer. And that might actually be a little bit too warm since you are that warm neutral. But it's not terrible.
Okay.
Let's try this one here. I still think you're going to be a little bit more on the darker side. I still actually prefer this one over this one.
I do as well.
Try a deep color here, deep purple. And this one has just a little bit of warmth in it, a little bit deeper of a color. Still feels a little bright. It's closer, but I still think I prefer the muted version here. So let me see if I have a slightly darker version of this, but basically this muted color, but a little bit darker in hue. Nice slight difference here, but again, still like that one the most. Just checking in.
Yes.
I think that is a relatively flattering color on you. It's a little bit on the brighter side, but I think it really makes the warmth undertones pop of that neutral warm.
Yeah, that's very pretty.
And again, a little bit on the darker palette there. Just leave that there. We'll try a couple other options here against that one. So this is very similar, but it's just a little bit more red in that hue. I think I still prefer the slightly muted undertone. And that's too bright. See the difference between the muted and the bright color.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to stick with this one for our purple maroon palette. Let's take a look at some pinks. So again, starting out with the one that I think will be the least effective. I can already see you don't like that one.
No.
Yeah, so very much too light. It doesn't really blend with the skin, doesn't pop. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Now this one's quite warm. The skin. Okay, and compared just to here, it's a little bit cooler, further warm. And then this one's just a little more dull, a little less saturated. I think both of these are nice colors. I think they're somewhat different. If you want to go for something that is a little bit lighter, I think you could get away with this, but I still prefer the slightly duller look.
Okay.
Sorry? So far, this is our palette here. So as you can see, all sort of dull colors with the warmth undertone there. And how are you feeling about these so far?
I like them.
Okay, we'll keep moving. See for some reds here. So first we have a very bright option. And this also has a lot of cool undertones, so again, probably not going to be your color, but... So compare that to this deeper, more muted red color. You see how your eyes pop there versus that?
I love that one.
This one's better, right? Okay. Again, more cool purple blue undertones here versus brighter warm. Still prefer the more muted red compared to that. So again, back to this color. Better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at some greens now. And starting out, I'm just going to pull one that I think would be a good fit and we can match everything against it. So here we have a nice muted, but darker green. I can already tell this looks really nice on you. Would you agree?
Yes. This is the kind I would go for.
Yes, so this is already something that's in your palette already.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So comparing that again to a little bit more of a brighter color. So this bright green here, even though this does have warm undertones in it, but it's very bright. And I think it doesn't make your palette pop the way this one does, especially with the darker hair, the fairer complexion. This one's extremely warm. This one's on the warm, completely on the warm scale. And again, same thing. It's not terrible. It is a slightly different look and color, but I think if you're gonna go green, I would stick to the darker, more muted colors. This one's again just a little brighter, a little cooler. I actually do quite like this as well. It's a little bit more on the neutral side, a little bit more on the light side, but again, I think this is still our best pick. Just further confirming that neutral, warm, muted, darker palette. Some oranges here. I'm going to assume my darker, warmer orange is going to be the one that I like best. But let's just take a look. Because there are slight yellow undertones to the skin, I just think this contrasts too much. Even the orange, I would say, is probably not going to be a color that you want to wear often. Here's a more muted orange. But even still, the complexion is not quite the right. There's too much yellow in the oranges with that flashy little bit of undertone. I'm going to assume it's going to be pretty similar with the yellows themselves. Again, starting with our warm, dark, muted yellow. And I just think it clashes too much with the undertone of the skin. This one's got a little that blue hue to it, blue-green. So that's a definite no. A little more muted here. A little better. A little less of that yellow. And the most muted here with the most warm undertone. So this would probably be the color I would go for, but I still think overall it washes you out. So I would avoid the yellows for the most part.
Sounds good.
Let's take a look at a couple of darker colors on you to finish up this portion. You do have black on already, but this is our warmer, more muted black. You can kind of see the difference between that one and that one. So I put this one, just slight difference there, but it just has a little bit more warmth to it.
Yeah.
Deep muted blue. You like that color?
I do.
I think that looks very nice with your skin tone. I've pulled this sort of maroon. Just want to compare that against our other maroon here. It's a little bit darker, but I think they both work. I think they're both in the palette. And then lastly, a neutral brown. And that's not a good fit. That's too much yellow in the undertones there. All right, so overall, let's take a look at your palette here. So starting out here, got the blue. I'm just going to lay them all against. Okay, so how does this feel as far as what you expected? Does this feel like colors that are already in your wardrobe, or are these surprising to you?
Some of them are. I mean, I definitely tend to go for darker colors, especially the green one. Even like darker greens I often go for, so it's like not surprising for me to see that in there.
Okay.
Same with the maroon. I feel like those are colors I have been very confident and comfortable in. There's definitely a couple colors that are surprising to me that I would have expected more of, like browns and stuff. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this. It's good to know.
Okay. So I do feel like there are many more colors in the spectrum. So what I think you're going to want to look for when you go out shopping, that you're not exclusive to just these colors, right?
Okay.
What we're looking for is a muted hue, a darker, deeper saturation, so really more richer in the color, and more warm undertones. So I can go ahead and just walk you through a couple of those with a chart here so you can recognize how to search for these yourself, because these are by no means the only colors you can wear. So I have just a few charts here. We'll start out with this one. So as you can see, along all the color spectrums, there's lots of different types of colors here. And so you're going to find the warmer, deeper hues or shades and tones closer to the center of the wheel here.
Okay.
And you're going to want to avoid the yellows and the orange section here. So
I see.
Cover those up. You're going to stick with these deeper, warmer tones here with the purples. And again, looking for that, that warmer undertone. So you see how this is kind of a mix, has that warmth undertone versus up here a little bit more of a cool undertone. And the cooler colors are going to also continue it that way. So again, probably closer to this one here, and this one here. These ones, as you add lighter color, as you add white, you're going to get more on that cooler side of things. Add white and blue.
Okay.
So here, you've got, again, shade, tone, tint. So you're going to be looking more for those muted colors, these ones here, versus a bright green like that. More muted here, avoiding these colors. So when you are looking for those darker tones, the browns, so we have here sort of with a red-orange, I still think this is going to be the best color for you versus even... Let's just see here. I prefer the red undertone to the orange.
Okay.
It's more of that neutral versus the orange is going to be more of that pure warm, and you are definitely a warm neutral and not a pure warm.
Okay.
All right, so Heather, that is, I think, the end of your color analysis session here today. Again, just to recap, we are going with warm neutral undertones. I'm going to be looking for saturated colors, more muted versus more saturated colors, and more of those darker tones. Okay. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I think I'm okay right now. Thank you.
All right. Well, this was a great session. It was great to see you, and we will chat very soon.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.